Game is looking fantabulous. Look at that foliage.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone used to talk about foliage, and it was like a big foliage, like arms
It's all
race?
foliage and water.
You guys won that arms race based
Well,
on what I'm
thank you.
seeing here.
Welcome back to PlayStation Underground. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy. Specifically, we're taking a look at Crash 3 Warped, the third and final game in this trilogy. I'm joined by my friend and compatriot, Sid Schumann.
Why, hello.
And we're also joined by Dan Tengway from Vicarious Visions.
That's right.
I almost said Vicarious Visions, like the way that I messed it up earlier.
Got a real problem with that word.
That's a really tough word for me. So let's dive on into some gameplay here, and we can start talking about all kinds of stuff. So this is obviously the long-awaited remaster, remake, something of.
So this is a remaster.
You want to go?
And here's a good example of
We'll see who is obsolete.
remastered cinematic.
I got to say, though, I mean, I feel like you're selling yourself slightly short calling it a remaster because I've never seen anything kind of to this level.
Right. So yeah, we consider it kind of a AAA remaster.
Okay.
And our team's been very experienced making AAA games, and we've tried to treat this as we would any other title we make, original or not. So a lot of love and care has gone into this. I mean, we just take a step back real quick and just kind of look at the scene. I mean,
look at those physics. They didn't have this kind of stuff back on the PS1. Come on. Remaster.
Only with the power and precision. By the way, we're seeing this on.
So this supports PS4 Pro.
Yes, it does.
And tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing on the PS4 Pro version.
So for the PS4 Pro, we've enhanced the graphics and upped the resolution to look even sharper and more colorful than ever.
Nice. So we're sticking with 1080 here for YouTube, but game is looking fantabulous. Look at that foliage.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone used to talk about foliage, and it was like a big foliage, like arms
It's all
race?
foliage and water.
You guys won that arms race based on what
thank
I'm
you.
seeing here.
Yeah, no, that was a big push for us. I think, you think back when Crash Bandicoot first came out on the PlayStation 1, and it was, by my eyes, probably the best looking game on the PlayStation 1. And that's a huge legacy to live up to. So, when we took this on, we said we've got to make that big of an impression. And I like to think that, we've got beautiful amounts of foliage. It's just a lush environment. And obviously, as we've seen, both Crash and his enemies just ooze personality.
Okay,
which is super important to us.
Careful with that one.
Up.
You gonna go for it?
Oh! Almost.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Well, at least he got the one up.
Yeah.
So death is a large part of the Crash franchise, and we try to make sure that
That's one way to do
each
it.
death it needs to be funny, it needs to be amusing, and I think we have over like 100 death animations in the game.
Really?
It's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
So what does that process look like when you're going back to the original games created by Naughty Dog and kind of redoing all this? How painstaking is that process of trying to get everything just right, but also making it work in this new version?
It is, well, painstaking is a very good way of describing it. But we had the luck, I guess, of getting a hold getting a hold of the original level meshes.
Oh,
So that was kind of the cornerstone that we built on. And that allowed us to basically then remaster the gameplay, knowing that if we fit within those level parameters, it would at least be in the right direction. But, after that, it just involves a lot of iteration. It involves playing the original game. It involves, just scrubbing back and forth. It also really involves, I think, just having a team who's really fans of the original and know the original front and back. We've got some team members where this was the game of their childhood. And, I'll give you a good example, Jump. You know how critical Jump is for a platformer.
of course.
And so, we're like, oh yeah, Jump. Yeah, we got that. We had that in our previous games, and we implemented Jump the first time, and we go to them, they'll be like, yeah, no, you guys didn't get it. I'm like, all right. So So we go back to the drawing board, work on it again, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's better, but you guys still didn't get it." And so we have probably iterated on Jump more than I think pretty much anything else in this game.
Wow.
Yeah. And but the end result, yeah. The end result will hopefully speak for itself.
Well, yeah, it looks incredible, but it looks like it feels exactly like I remember it.
Well, that was what we were shooting for,
Yep.
so it's good to hear.
Yeah, it's always kind of a difficult bridge to gap, I guess, trying to revisit something that people remember in such a specific way. But if you go back and play the original Crash games, they're probably not quite exactly as you remember them. This looks like how I remember the old Crash games.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's one of those things where we know, like I was saying before about the levels, you know you got to have certain things.
The guy's in his underwear.
Yes.
Yeah, he blasted his robe off.
You know, you have to have certain things that are exactly faithful to the original, but you also want to create just a little room for the team to kind of innovate and, you know, add their own stamp.
Yeah.
And add a few surprises so that, you know.
Are there any specific examples of the team leaving their own mark on this that you can share?
Certainly. I mean, you know, we can take kind of a large example. When we looked at the two-headed ogre dude, you know, he was swinging giant turkey clubs instead of, you know, regular clubs. And that was just a flourish that the art team thought would be funny.
Oh.
A little extra flavor to it. But, you know, taken on a broader level, we also decided to, you know, take some of the, well, I think it's the benefit of hindsight, I guess. You know, the game's been out 20 years, and, you know, fans have endlessly dissected it. So, you know, we were able to take, say, a feature that we thought worked really well for the third game and then apply it to the other two. The biggest of those would be time trials.
Oh, cool.
Time trials were a fantastic innovation at the time that was added exclusively for the third game and created a lot of longevity. But, you know, we had to build it, and we're like, well, geez, why don't we just add it to the first two games as well?
Yeah.
So now all games have time trials. That's 80+ levels of time trials for all the fans to just play over again and again. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will complain about that change.
No, I
Are
don't
there
think
any
so.
like forums that you're keeping an eye on where people say they replaced it with a turkey club? How dare they? They're besmirching the legacy of Crash.
Well, I think after they watch this video, I'm sure it will appear on Reddit or NeoGAF, but I think people will enjoy the turkey club.
It's fun. It fits. It fits perfectly.
I enjoy it a lot.
Just looking great though, and I noticed the audio seems to be greatly reworked. It feels very faithful, but yeah, you guys totally like re-recorded the score, I want to say, right?
Yes, we did. We did get a hold of the original score as they were pressed on the original discs, and we were able to then take out the rhythm tracks. So that just pretty much helped us nail the tempo. And from that, we were able to layer new instrumentation to create a richer track that you're hearing now.
This is awesome.
I think that there's more skill involved in trying to play in such a way that you're showing off all the deaths, but not quite getting to a game over screen. So kudos on that.
Yeah.
Takes great skill.
So Crash Bandicoot, Crash 3 Warped actually first came out in 1998, I want to say?
Yes, 98.
Oh my god, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah,
so
I feel old.
It's been almost 20 years, which is incredible to say. What do you think that we've all learned as an industry and as game designers in the last 19 years?
What have we learned? Wow.
And how does that apply to your work on this game?
Yeah. So I think for me what has been interesting, at least I'll speak for myself, I think more so than the industry as a whole. That would be very presumptuous of me. But for myself, I think one of the key lessons that we found in kind of modernizing Crash was, you know, we had really wanted to make sure that it was faithful and true to the challenge, but that didn't mean we couldn't go in and try to communicate some of those challenges more cleanly and try to make it so that, you know, players could better understand what was being asked of them so that they weren't necessarily always just learning by trial and error, but in fact could, you know, okay, I see that this similar pattern's coming up and, you know, I know how to deal with it now.
I mean, these are not easy games.
They are not, no. No.
So you
Especially-
definitely, it looks like you've kept some of that, or a lot of that challenge here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, especially by the time we got to Crash 3, I think that the designers were really starting to stretch their legs a little bit
Yeah,
and
yeah.
have some fun with the designs.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's actually quite amazing, almost from like a historical perspective, to see the evolution from Crash 1 to Crash 3 and see, Naughty Dog was learning each time they put out a game, and you can see how they changed their design and evolved kind of their thinking in order to get to the point that we're seeing right now, which is Crash Warped. And again, we have the benefit of hindsight, so we were able to apply a lot of those lessons across the board and just create kind of a more cohesive trilogy overall.
Cool.
Should we take a look at another level?
Sure.
And here we are checking out Orange Asphalt. This is another level from Crash 3 Warped in the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy, coming out June 30th on PS4, I want to say. Is that right?
That is correct.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I know all my marketing. This is cool. See, I never played Crash 3, and this is kind of bananas to see this. I didn't know they were doing stuff like this.
Oh, yeah. No, there's always been a trend of providing a little gameplay novelty in the Crash games. Starting with the original Crash Bandicoot, you had hog riding, and then they made that polar bear riding in Crash 2, and then they're like, well, let's add jetpack and a jet board. By Crash 3, they went all in. I mean, motorcycles, jet skis, planes, scuba gear. It's all there, and it's all here in the Insane Trilogy as well. So,
And looking better than ever, I got to say. I mean,
yeah, this level's gorgeous.
So here's a good example of a place where I'm sure you guys had to make a decision whether you were going to tinker with the original kind of gameplay feeling of this level, if you were going to put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
Where did you guys land on that?
Yeah, so the level itself is exactly the same as it was in the original games. The handling, we tried to get as close as we could, but in certain cases we found there were times that we could improve the handling in the vehicle mode specifically, because modern taste, especially with vehicles and controls for those vehicles, has changed a little bit. So whenever we thought it was a good idea, we did that. I think that's most notable probably in like the plane and the jetpack handling. We spent some time on that. They certainly benefited from, having analog controls and things of that nature.
This police force is not particularly efficient, I've noticed.
No, they're
They got room for improvement.
I'd say that's a very polite way of putting it. Yeah.
So did you guys go back and re-record Aku Aku's famous voice line, or is that pulled straight from the original game?
We did, in fact. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, we found that.
Did you track down the original guy?
Overall, we found that the voice acting as pulled from just the disc really just wasn't of the quality that it needed to be for the PS4.
I mean, it's been 20 years,
Yes,
right?
Yep. And so we tracked down the original voice actors when we could, and when we couldn't, we found voice actors who had still worked with the franchise. We wanted to make sure they were familiar with it. I don't recall. I think it might be a new Aku Aku actor, but please.
Sounds indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Sid, can you do the impression of the Aku Aku sound?
I've never tried it. I've never tried it.
There you go.
That's good.
All right.
I just pulled that out of nowhere.
We'll hire you next time. All right.
Taking a look at another level here.
Yep. So this is the last level we have to share with everyone today.
Awesome.
Gone Tomorrow. Again, another beautiful level, which is why we wanted to show it off. But the other reason is that Crash 3 Warped especially has a huge variety of environments. And so we really wanted to illustrate that Crash has gone beyond the jungle and the ancient ruins, and now he's in the future, a dystopian future ruled by Neo-Cortex.
Now, there's a huge variety of environments, but there's also a huge variety of idle animations, and I'm hoping we can maybe get a look at one of those right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So do nothing.
Do nothing, and we will watch and wait.
Something
This is where
funny is
the
going to
real
happen.
Skill comes in.
He looked. That was a...
He did as a subtle one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just took a peek.
While we're waiting for Crash to do some awesome idle animations, we briefly touched on this before we started recording, but I wanted to ask if you guys have any favorite idle animations. I think Crash was one of the originators and really having fun with it, but there have been so many good ones over the years.
Yes, I mean, certainly the Crash dance is a classic. I mean, everyone loves that one.
Did you guys get
we-
mocap actors to come in?
No, these are all hand animated. I think actually one of our more recent favorites is we had a idol competition.
Oh.
And we asked all our fans to submit ideas, and they went and, geez, I don't know how many submissions we got. It was hundreds and hundreds of submissions, but yeah, we picked one, and it's Aku and Crash playing volleyball with one another.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
And,
funny.
It's very, it's very charming. So we're really happy with how that one turned out.
Awesome.
I don't want to totally grind this to a halt, so feel free to keep playing.
Yeah,
but
we got
thanks.
the good one. We got the dancing.
Yeah,
I love idle animations. They're such an art form.
they are.
I like I think like Sonic 1 and 2 had really good
They
idle
did.
animations.
They did. It's kind of a lost art too. It's
Yeah.
not something you see a whole lot anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point, a lot of games have just gotten so realistic that it's
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
general character's kind of
Yeah.
you know?
It used to be a primary way of, sort of communicating the personality of the character.
Well, I think a lot of that's also evolved into emotes and dances and things
That's
like
true.
that too.
That's true. Good analysis there.
Yeah.
This is a little daunting.
This looks like maybe one of the more difficult levels.
Yes, this is taken from toward the end of the game. So, actually, it's a good point to illustrate here is that Crash 3 was also the first game to introduce Crash's power moves.
Oh.
And so he's got his, supercharged body slam, but actually we're seeing good use of the fruit bazooka at this point.
Bam.
And that certainly helps make sure that Crash can take out some of the more difficult enemies at distance.
That's huge.
So, did you guys go back and work with Naughty Dog at all when you were putting this all together, just for guidance, or did they generally trust you to get it right?
Sony, we certainly have worked with you guys quite a bit, but Naughty Dog actually said that they would give us our space to make this
cool.
remaster. And what we did as a courtesy before we showed it off at PSX last year was we brought that demo to them.
Oh, great.
And they sat down and said they loved it. And right before we actually are now showing this to the public, we sat down with Naughty Dog again, and yeah,
Oh,
they had a
that's
great
great.
time with it. So I guess it gets a big orange thumbs up from Naughty Dog, which is awesome. And we're thrilled because, I mean, we really wanted to make sure we were doing right by Naughty Dog's creation here.
This is where it all began.
Yep.
Well, actually, it didn't. They were around before that too. They did a lot of other games, but
Yeah.
this is, I think, what really,
Yeah, I think
really
Crash
got them on the
really
map.
Kind of put
Yeah.
on the map, yeah. Crash
It
was
looks
kind
great.
of like the first mascot I remember PlayStation ever really having.
Yep.
I mean, it was central to PlayStation's identity, at least in the United States,
Yep.
for the first several years.
Yeah.
You guys have that big orange bodysuit around the office somewhere?
It is sitting in somebody's office right now, yes. We have it.
With
People
a
have asked me to
megaphone.
wear it, but from what I've heard, it's a little uncomfortable to wear. So,
I mean, that thing's like it's priceless.
yeah, no, it. When I saw that in person, it did tug my heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
George Washington's wooden teeth, or Betsy Ross's like original flag or something.
Yeah.
You gotta put that in a museum. Look at all the nice reflections and
Yep.
stuff. Ooh.
Yeah, that was something actually that the original game did that our engine did not do,
Interesting.
and we were like, oh geez, I guess we got to put reflections in our game. So,
Really?
yeah.
It was like just like that. You're like, well, we got to have these reflections.
That's the level of detail that this has to be as people remember it. and
Wow.
People remember reflection, so
I feel like reflections are really hard to get right, too. Even a lot of modern games have a hard time with it.
they do. Yeah.
No expense spared.
Yep. Now, one thing that the original game didn't have that we decided to put in, which we've touched on in the past, is fur. And that was something where basically, I don't know, we were probably on our maybe 4th or 5th version of the Crash model, and we knew something just wasn't right about him. Just didn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
And we eventually said, yeah, no, we've got to write a fur shader for Crash. And really, it's just because, you know, the rest of the environment, you know, we had planned to be so detailed, but, you know, Crash just didn't feel detailed enough. And so we implemented the first shader, and I think it's turned out fantastic.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah. And, you know, the artists, you know, once you give them a tool, they're like, oh, so who else can we put fur on?
Yep.
Like, oh, you could do bosses, you know, maybe some of Crash's friends, you know, Polar. I'm like, okay, cool. How about the goat? Can we put fur on the goat? Like, okay, yeah. And so pretty much soon enough, yeah, fur's everywhere in the game. This is by far
covered in
probably,
fur.
Yeah.
Furriest game ever.
This is the furriest game ever. It is. In the truest sense. So,
well, I mean, Dan, I got to say, it looks tremendous. I really love to see just a classic series like this treated with such love and care.
well, thank you.
And you know, I think we could all only hope that that other developers take you know, some inspiration here from the leadership you've provided on this, and kind of up their game a little on the remaster front. This is a whole new experience, yet strangely faithful to the original game.
Well, thank you. That means that we've done our job.
You
Yeah,
sure
you guys
have.
really struck an incredible balance here. Are there any other just general like quality of life enhancements you guys are making, either when you're talking about the menus or just
Oh,
the
absolutely. Absolutely. I think, you know, while the core gameplay, you know, we've really tried to make sure we've, you know, struck that balance. I think there were certainly room to make improvements in quality of life areas. I mean, to give you an example, the first game, save game system, was fairly non-existent, so we knew we had to overhaul that. And even within kind of the manual system, save game system that I had in the original game, we decided that, you know, a lot of players just use automatic saving these days. So,
Yeah.
so we've added some conveniences like that. You know, we've unified the user interface and the pause menu to just be a lot more accessible so that players can easily just pick up and play and get into the game.
So nice. I mean, it just exceeds my expectations. Yeah, I like those little beauty shots you do when you have the God rays streaming through. I mean, not what I think of when I think about Crash Bandicoot, but I'm loving it.
Cool. All right, we are almost at the end.
Time for the big finish.
Come on, you got it.
And there we are.
Nice. So that is Crash 3 Warped as part of Crash Bandicoot the Insane Trilogy. Anything we missed? Anything else you want to make sure we talk about here?
I want to say to the PlayStation fans, you know, thank you, I guess. I mean, basically, it was their desire to, you know, really see a Crash remaster that kind of gave us this opportunity to make it. So we're excited to get it into their hands come June 30th.
Fantastic. Dan, thank you very much. That's Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, out June 30th on PS4. Sid, thanks for joining us. And Dan, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll have more on Crash soon.
Hey guys, we're here to do a playthrough for Sewer or Later, so let's dive right in. Right away, you can see how the slide jump in Cortex Strikes Back makes for a faster, smoother, and more fun playing style. And Vicarious Visions has made the handling feel extremely fluid, just like the original. Notice how moody and atmospheric this level looks and feels. Vicarious Visions has used a reality-based lighting to give the sewer a modern, more realistic sensibility. Alright, here comes the secret yellow gem path. So I unlocked this by getting the yellow gem from the previous level, Plant Food. So I'm on my way to getting a perfect for this level. Just had to take a few shocks and lose a life so that Crash can restart on the regular level path. So here we can see some of the great lighting effects developed for the game. Take a closer look at how the lights and colors are reflected all the way up the walls of the sewer tube, making the environment feel extremely immersive. So here you can also see some cool water effects. Notice the ambient water that splashes below Crash as he storms the tunnel, along with the lifelike bubbles coming out of the scrubbing Bubbletron. Dang, this level keeps on giving. Never a dull moment, and the difficulty doesn't let up. Alright, great. Got my purple crystal and an extra life. So I'm ready to finish on the other side and get my perfect for the level. Alright, there it is. Final gem collected, and I got all 57 of those crates. We did it! Hey everyone, we're about to do a playthrough for Upstream, the 5th level in the very first Crash Bandicoot game in the Sane Trilogy. Let's do this! So when you get your hands on the game, one of the things that's going to be a bit of an adjustment, but actually a really fun one, is the fact that the team's done a lot of work on making the handling with an analog stick feel super responsive and fun, and it also has the precision that is perfect for getting through these river obstacles. So as I'm going through this level, you guys gotta look at how much work Vicarious Visions has done to make these levels feel incredibly lush and so detailed, just full of these immersive graphics, filling out the world with all of this life, this foliage, and this really great water effect. In fact, the water tech was developed specifically for this title. This includes new splashes that help the player with tells. Example, you can see the rippling effect just as the lily pads are going to sink, so you know when to jump. So spoiler alert, I unlocked this path from getting the orange gem from a later level called Generator Room. Okay, Taunt Token number 3, bonus level. Let's do this. Alright, love these crate bounce challenges. Good to use the higher jump to get good positioning on these crates. Now, good thing to know, hold the X button to go higher when you jump off of them. You don't need to time it as you hit the crates. Alright, one of the new game features here is that you need to get all of the bonus crates in order to get a perfect on the level. And you can enter the bonus stages as many times as you need to get all of these crates. Alright, so it looks like I'm missing 2 boxes. Here comes the secret gem path. Wait for it. Alright, there are those last 2 crates. Now just to survive the last bit of this level. Alright, let me grab this clear gem like a pro. And there you have it, folks. Nothing like a perfect run through.
This time, I shall reign triumphant! Bring me crystals! Darn you, Crash Bandicoot!
These characters that fans love so much, but really staying true to the original story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Crash was like this cartoon character, and we really wanted to not only capture Crash, but all the inspirations that Naughty Dog had leading up to Crash. So, yeah, it's. I think the cinematic pretty much says it all at this point.
I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's so vibrant. I mean, you talk about him being like a, like this like crazy comic character, and there is a little bit of that, but it's almost like more 3D modeled version of him.
Yeah.
You know, it's like every little bit of his fur is popping up, and all the other characters.
Yep.
It really wasn't just about him. The whole environment speaks.
Yeah.
Look, there's this crazy
Everyone
little
loves to
face.
hate Dr. Neocortex. So he's back.
He still hasn't found a shirt though. Crash still can't find a shirt that fits him.
Yeah. He wants you to. No, especially now that he has fur, he doesn't need a shirt.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right.
So we're going to get into the first, which is Insanity.
It's, you know, just getting this right again was just really important to us. Like,
Yeah. So as you're playing through, I mean, you know, again, it's just the level of detail that we've been looking at here. I mean, we've got Crash in widescreen now, you know, and it seems like a simple thing, but it isn't. I mean, we're able to pack in so much more at this point and really kind of be true to, you know, the original concepts of Crash. You know, we went back to some of the original work and things like that and really found inspiration in that. And, yeah.
Now, along with the music being from the original, what about some of the voice acting?
yeah, we all of the voice actors, we brought the whole cast back, you know, but to re-record all the lines and emotes, and you know, as Dan said, there's like
They re-recorded it brand new.
re-recorded brand new,
Yep.
and like
Yep.
I mean, with what Dan said, that especially with today's technology, we're allowed to have a lot more variation. So what you'll see in some of these characters, it won't just be one sound of attacking or, you know, pain. You can have a whole variation. So I think almost all of the voice actors have been involved in the franchise at one time or another.
Yep.
So it's been really, and they had a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun doing this.
That's
again.
so crazy too. Like 20 years later, you're like, hey, let me give you a call. I need you to come back and do this again.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
so
really
fun.
great.
This is adorable.
Yeah. So obviously we've left no turtle unturned, and make, you know. I'm sorry.
It's so easy. I love it.
I know.
Crash humor.
Crash is full of puns. So, but it's those kind of levels of details where, you know, we can just really have fun getting into those moments, which are just so delightful, and you know what make this game so fun and beloved.
So one of the great things about the gameplay in Crash,
We can pull it off. Bigger
Yeah.
challenge for him now.
but it's really important for us that, you know, this is a game for old and new fans alike.
Yeah.
And certainly with new fans, we've done a lot of things to make it even easier to pick up and play than before. You know, we've done a lot of work with the controls and the checkpointing and things like that. But we still want to make sure that there's that challenge there and that compulsion to go back and do more like we were
Absolutely.
talking about. So one of the things we added, which we think fans will be super excited about, is the fact that there's going to be time trials everywhere.
Oh, nice.
In all the levels instead of just in the third game. We don't have that to show today, but tell you what, people have been working on it in the office, and they can't put it down.
That sounds awesome. Well, that's what I love too. I mean, you talk about this is the 20th anniversary of Crash. You know, you only have to be 18 years old to be here at PSX. So I'm sure there are some people here that probably weren't even alive when the last Crash came out.
Okay.
So it's really cool to have them be able to rediscover something that they heard about growing up, where they were like, oh yeah, I was just a little bit too old. When I got into games a little too late to actually experience Crash, and now they get to. It's like getting like your folklore like back out and
that,
really experience the history.
That's really important to us, that new fans get a chance to, you know, love basically the Crash that we came to know and love as well.
Sure. Or now that, you know, you're older enough, and maybe my age or older, you may have kids, and you can get your kids into the game then.
Yeah, it's a
That's
great
really
game
cool.
to pass around on the sofa and watch each other play, and he did it. He did it.
What?
We did it.
Yeah,
We proved us wrong. Fantastic.
Perfect.
So yeah, so of course he coughs up that gem, you know, out of the level of detail and how we're modernizing these games. You know, it's everybody that's seen this so far, all the fans that have seen this are going, oh, it's heavy machinery. They recognize it right away. It instantly feels entirely familiar. Like they know what this is. But they're also starting to notice the level of care and attention and detail that's all been added new. Because, like, again, we're building this right from the ground up. You know, teams like, you know, all the rivets and the wheels and the pipes, and those are all new to this version. And
I won't even ask you how many hours you guys have already spent working on this.
a few hours.
Yeah, like
I mean,
me
a few
too.
hours.
Yeah.
Just a few. Yeah. So you notice he just picked up a token there. That's another thing that you know, we've been really looking and paying attention to is bonus rounds. For the Crash fans and Crash 1, the bonus rounds, they were cool. They provide a lot of challenge, but they had a few hiccups.
Okay.
So, you know, that's one of those types of improvements we've been looking to make, just easier to get into some of the bonus rounds, easier to replay them, you know, and just take you know, a lot of the lessons learned over the years and kind of apply them back. So
And
people,
speaking of over the years, not that I want to get greedy or anything, but is there an option maybe in the future to remaster future games? I've had a couple people on